Hi everybody, good evening. I am Miguel Ángel Sotelo, Vice President for International Relations at the University of Alcalá. Today I have the pleasure and the honor to chair this welcome reception ceremony of IPIN 2016 International Conference. Before starting off, I would like to say hello, my compliments to the people in the other room that are following the ceremony by streaming. So we have them in our hearts. So hi, people in the streaming room. Then we'll meet later in the cocktail, don't worry. And we start off by giving the floor to Professor Jesús Ureña, General Chair of IPIN 2016. Professor.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sotelo, Vice President of International Relations of the University of Alcalá. I usually stay in this site, in this room, and now I have the opportunity of, as I did this morning, I had the opportunity to welcome you in this room, in this nice and beautiful indoor environment. And also, I will take the opportunity now to thank the University of Alcala's authorities, led by the President of the University, for their enthusiastic reception and support, which greatly helped us in the organization of this conference. A special thanks to the Vice President of International Relations, many thanks, Professor Sotelo, as well as to the Vice President of Research and Innovation and to Vice President of University Extension and Institutional Relations. We would like also to extend our gratitude to the authorities of the Alcalá de Henares Town Hall for their support in part of the cultural activities. 5 centuries ago, some pioneer explorers and navigators who applied their knowledge and last positioning instruments discovered the New World of Americas. 7 years after, in 1499, Cardinal Cisneros founded the University of Alcalá and designed this city of the knowledge, not only the buildings where we are, but also an educational project absolutely novel at that time. Maybe being here in this peaceful environment, we can be imbued with the determination and the capacity of envisioning proved by this pioneer of the exploration and education. I wish that for all you. Please enjoy the rest of your visit and stay here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Beautiful words. My time now to welcome you. I would like to offer my institutional welcome to all participants in the International Conference in IPIN 2016. On behalf of our humble and ancient institution, the University of Alcalá, one of the oldest universities in Europe and consequently one of the oldest in the world. I know you have been touring around the building, the rectorate facilities, and you already have an idea of our history. I'm not going to revisit the history of the university in depth, but I just want to remind you some figures and facts that you might not know. I guess you already know the first university in the city of Alcalá was founded in 1293 by the very end of the 13th century by Sancho IV, King of Castilla. Castilla was the predominant region in Spain by that time, but it was not the whole of Spain. Then the university was refounded in 1499 by Cardinal Cisneros, already mentioned to you by Professor Ureña, and probably during the visit that you have just done. And I would like to speak a little bit more about him. A few words about Cardinal Cisneros. He was a prominent figure in Spanish history in the transition between the 15th and the 16th century. And indeed, he was the governor of Castilla on 2 different occasions. One after the death of Elizabeth the Queen, and then after the death of her husband, Ferdinand the King. On both occasions, he was a governor for approximately 1 year and a half. So he was not only a man of God, he was also a man of state with a very clear vision, a visionary, an innovator by that time, one of the best in Europe. Cardinal Cisneros had the vision to start a university with the ambition, with the goal of spreading the word of God. Remember, he was a cardinal. So he wanted everybody to know about the Bible, about Christ, learn the teachings, and so on. So the best way in his conception to do that was to teach the languages in which the Bible was written. So he decided to create a university to teach Latin, Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic, among others. Then with the passing of time, he decided to innovate a little bit more, and he promoted the starting of other studies on law and medicine. And by doing this, he became an innovator by that time. It was one of the first universities in Europe teaching medicine, and in general, teaching something different from theology, languages, and law. That was the knowledge that was taught at the university level in all European universities by that time. So it was an innovator in this way. Also mentioned by Professor Ureña, he was one of the creators of the novel concept of university city by putting together all the buildings and facilities dealing with the university activities. Like, for example, teaching facilities, teaching centers, the colleges, the university residences where students stayed, and so on. By putting them together, concentrated all the buildings in a given area, he created this concept of the university campus that has been preserved through the centuries and that we can still see and appreciate in our current, in our modern universities all across the world. All right, going back to the ambition of Cardinal Cisneros to teach the Word of God and to spread it worldwide, we visit one of his, I would say, more outstanding works, the multilingual Bible. He decided to create a Bible written in 4 languages, the 4 languages I have already mentioned, Latin, Greek, Aramaic, and Hebrew. But the peculiarity of this Bible is that on each page of the Bible, there were 4 paragraphs, 1 paragraph per language. So the objective of the Bible was twofold. On the one hand, you could learn about religion, about the Word of God, and on the other hand, you could learn languages, because you can compare the same sentence in 4 different languages. So you can study languages using the Bible. So he decided to spread his work worldwide. Remember, he was a visionary. What did he do? He produced 500 volumes of the Bible and put those volumes in a ship that took off from the port of Valencia, bound for Rome. Remember, these were Bibles, so the Bibles were expected to get the blessing from the Pope in Rome, and this he did. Unfortunately for him and for mankind, a storm, a terrible blitz, caught the ship and sank it to the bottom of the sea. So the 500 volumes lay there since then, on the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea. A pity for mankind, a pity for the academic world of those times. Fortunately for all of us, he preserved 50 volumes of those books in Spain. So these volumes are still preserved, can be visited and consulted, and we have one of them. The City Hall of the City of Alcalá has another one. So that was the work that we have. This was called to be the academic reference in those times, had it not been for the storm. Anyway, as you can imagine, and as I have already mentioned, he was not only a man of God and a man of state, he was a visionary, he was an innovator. He had such a clear mind that, in case he had been born in the 20th century, I'm pretty confident he would have been an engineer, an IEEE engineer, most likely. He was, as I say, a clever man by his time. Our university, going back to the present, is one of the 5 only universities in the world holding the World Heritage Site title given by UNESCO. There are only, as I mentioned, 5 universities, 2 in Europe, one is Alcalá, the other one is Coimbra in Portugal, and 3 in the Americas, one in North America, well, 2 in North America, actually, I should say, one in Virginia, second one is UNAM in Mexico, DF, and the third one is the Central University of Caracas in Venezuela. These are the 5 World Heritage Site universities. We got this title as a recognition to our cultural, historical, and architectural heritage. A proof of this is this beautiful room. This room where we are is called the Paraninfo Hall. It used to be a PhD examination room. The PhD candidate stood right there at the chair, at the cathedra in the center, up there. He was expected to present their hypotheses, their developments, and the results after the research. He was accompanied by 2 persons. One was supporting his or her hypothesis, so it was a colleague on his side, and the other one was all the opposite, trying to oppose his or her hypotheses, development, results, and so on. That was the figure of the opponent that we still have in our PhD examinations nowadays, as you know perfectly well. Today is not a PhD examination room anymore, but it is host to a number of remarkable ceremonies, some of them international, being the most outstanding one, the Cervantes Prize ceremony. The Cervantes Prize is tantamount to the Nobel Literature Award, but in this case only restricted to writers in Spanish language. So, every second year is given to a Spanish writer, and every other second year is given to a Latin American writer writing in Spanish, of course. His Majesty, the King of Spain, Philip V, the fifth was many hundred years ago, delivers the award in person. He sits right here where I'm sitting now, every April the 23rd. So this is the, as I said, the most outstanding event that we celebrate here with international participation. This is another proof of the traditions of our university, but our university does not intend to make their living out of the past alone. The past is good, the history is very nice, tradition is okay, we try to preserve it, but currently we try to keep, I would say, reasonable balance between tradition and innovation. For example, we have a very strong approach to internationalization. An example of this is the more than 6,000 students that we have in our classrooms every year, which is, or amounts to about 20%, a little bit more than 20% of international students, which is very much above the average in Europe. We are involved in uncountable research, international research projects and networks, most of them funded by the European Commission. International conferences, workshops, and events like International IP in 2016 conference. This is one example also. Let me add, that we try to follow a very strong, a very clear policy towards sustainability, environmental sustainability. A proof of this is the following figure, fact I'm going to give you. For 3 years in a row, certified by the Spanish Ministry of Industry, the University of Alcalá has achieved the following. All our buildings and facilities are 100% powered by renewable energy sources. And as I say, this has been certified for 3 years in a row by the Spanish Ministry of Industry, which is a tangible result. This is a proof of our approach to sustainability. And why do we do this? The reason is very simple. We are profoundly convinced that the Earth can live without us. That's for sure. That was the case for millions of years. But we cannot live without the Earth. So we try to take care of it by following a responsible, sustainable environmental policy. This we do. And engineering has a lot to do with this, because thanks to the development of engineering techniques and technology, these achievements are possible. That's why we are so proud to host an international conference on engineering, like IP in 2016, devoted to international navigation, and position and indoor position and indoor navigation, with remote sensing included and so on. A conference supported by 2 IEEE societies, the Geoscience and Remote Sensing Society and the Instrumentation and Measurement Society, apart from the support from the Spanish, IEEE Spanish section. So when I took a look at the conference program, I realized it was a sort of terrific, excellent program with uncountable, interesting presentations, remarkable keynotes that you cannot miss by any reason. Even the one after the gala dinner, you cannot miss that one either. All of them are equally interesting. 4 parallel tracks that lead to a competition, an industry panel with a strong support from leading companies in the sector. So all in all, an interesting, a really interesting conference that we are proud to host in Alcalá. I'm pretty confident that you will make progress in these interesting topics out of the discussions and presentations in IP in 2016, because, as stated by IEEE leitmotif, we engineers aim at advancing technology for humanity. This is our mission, so let's go and accomplish it. To conclude, I would like to express my deepest gratefulness to Professor Jesus Ureña, General Chair of the IP 2016 conference, and all his team for this great initiative and for pushing the internationalization of the University of Alcalá this way. And why not? for putting our small university on the map worldwide. Thank you for the effort, indeed. To all of you, again, and to the people in the streaming room, to all participants in general, my gratefulness also. Thank you for having decided to travel to Spain, to stay here with us, to participate and contribute to IP in 2016. We are delighted to have you here at the University of Alcalá, where, as Napoleon would say, 700 years of history look down on you. So, let me wish you a successful and fruitful conference, and the very best for all of you from the professional point of view. Thank you, enjoy, and welcome.
Thank you.
And with this, we officially close the ceremony, and we invite you to the patio for a cocktail. Thank you.
Thank you.